AITA for calling out my golden child sister after she mocked me at mom's cookout? I'm Hillary, 49, the younger daughter in a family that somehow decided years ago that quiet meant unsuccessful. I live a pretty private life, work steadily, pay my bills, and mind my business. That sounds boring to some people, especially in a family like mine, where the loudest person usually gets called the strongest. My older sister, Vanessa, is 53, and she has always been the one my mother introduced first, praised loudest, and defended fastest. Vanessa could walk into a room 20 minutes late, sunglasses still on, carrying a store-bought cake like she had personally saved the event, and everyone would act like the party had officially begun. I could be the one who brought extra folding chairs, refilled the paper plates, remembered that Aunt Renee hated onions on her burger, and nobody would say a word unless I forgot the ice. That was the pattern. Vanessa performed. I handled. Vanessa sparkled. I cleaned up. Vanessa made a sharp comment, and my mother Marilyn would sigh and say, "You know how your sister is." Funny how I was always expected to know how Vanessa was, but nobody ever expected Vanessa to know how I felt. Growing up, Vanessa was the pretty one, the confident one, the one who knew how to live. That was one of my mother's favorite phrases. If Vanessa spent too much money, she was enjoying life. If Vanessa quit something, she was refusing to settle. If Vanessa hurt someone's feelings, she had a big personality. I was serious, practical, too private, too sensitive, too hard to read. When relatives asked what I had been up to, I usually said, "Same old," because I did not like giving people details they would either ignore or twist. Vanessa took that and turned it into a family joke. "Hillary doesn't post much because mysterious is easier than admitting nothing's happening," she said once at Thanksgiving, smiling like she had just delivered a toast. Everyone chuckled. I smiled into my coffee. My mother touched my arm and whispered, "Let her have her moment." Vanessa always got moments. I got assignments. For years, she built this beautiful little public image around her condo. She posted photos in our shared family album of her balcony plants, new accent chairs, brunch trays, candles on the coffee table, throw blankets folded like a magazine shoot. She captioned things like, "Building a life I love," and "Home hits different when it's yours." Relatives ate it up. "Vanessa, you've done so well for yourself," Aunt Renee would say. My mother would beam. "She worked hard for that home." Vanessa would glance at me just long enough for me to see the smirk. What nobody knew except Vanessa and me was that the condo was legally mine. Years earlier, Vanessa had called me late at night. Caleb, her son, was still a teenager then. Her voice was wrecked, the kind of crying that comes in gasps. "Please, Hill," she said. "I can't do this to Caleb again. I can't make him move again. I swear I'll fix everything. I just need a chance." She had fallen behind on rent at her previous place after months of bad decisions she called temporary setbacks. There were unpaid bills, a car repair she had ignored until it became a crisis, and a boyfriend before Derek who had drained more from her than she admitted. I didn't ask for the whole ugly story. I knew Caleb was a good kid who looked tired every time adults raised their voices around him. I had some savings. I knew a modest condo was available through a property contact. It was not glamorous, but it was stable. I bought it with the understanding that Vanessa would sign a basic lease, pay a reduced family rent, handle utilities, and take care of the unit. It gave her a clean start and gave Caleb a consistent place to finish school. I did not tell the family because Vanessa begged me not to. "Mom will never let me live it down," she said. That should have been funny, considering our mother let Vanessa live almost everything down. But I believed the shame in her voice. I told myself I was protecting my nephew. I told myself privacy was kindness. First, Vanessa paid. Late sometimes, but she paid. Then she started sending half and saying she would catch up. Then she skipped a month and blamed a payroll issue. Then another month became, I had to help Caleb with something. Then there was always a reason, always a crisis, always a promise. "I'm good for it." She texted me more than once. She was not good for it. I was. I paid the property taxes. I paid the insurance. I covered HOA fees when her account came up short. I paid for a water heater repair after she waited 3 days to tell me there was a leak. I paid a utility balance once because the notice had gotten serious and I did not want Caleb coming home to no power. Every time I almost enforced the lease, I pictured Caleb packing boxes because adults around him could not be honest. So I gave Vanessa one chance, then another, then so many chances they stopped looking like kindness and started looking like permission. Meanwhile, she kept performing. She invited relatives over for coffee and let them admire her place. She let Derek, her current boyfriend, talk about their upgrades. She acted like I was some lonely little caution sign while she was the proof that confidence paid off. Once, at a birthday dinner for Mason, our cousin, Vanessa leaned across the table and said, "Hillary, you should come by more. Maybe the condo will inspire you." I looked at her for a long second. She smiled wider. My mother said, "That's sweet, Vanessa. You should invite your sister more often." I almost laughed. Instead, I asked the server for more water. My mother's role in all of this was its own quiet injury. Marilyn is 74, and she believes family peace means the person most likely to stay quiet should keep staying quiet. If Vanessa needed defending, Mom was there before Vanessa even finished falling. If I needed fairness, Mom suddenly had bad hearing. Whenever I hinted that Vanessa was not as independent as everyone thought, my mother would shut me down. "Don't be petty, Hillary. Family helps family without keeping score. You don't need applause for doing the right thing." Apparently Vanessa did. The first real crack came a few days before my mother's birthday cookout. I received an email from Mr. Landry, the property manager who handled maintenance and formal communication for the condo. He was practical, polite, and allergic to drama, which was exactly why I liked working with him. His email subject line was simple: lease compliance question. I opened it while standing at my kitchen counter with a cup of coffee I never finished. The message said there were unpaid utility notices connected to the unit, unusual where reported near the bathroom cabinet during a maintenance check, and a possible unauthorized long-term occupant. Then came the line that made me set the cup down. Please confirm whether Derek has been added to the lease or approved for long-term occupancy. Derek had not been added to anything. I knew he stayed over sometimes. Vanessa had brushed it off as normal adult relationship stuff. But the lease was clear. Long-term occupancy required approval. I also knew Vanessa had not paid even the reduced rent in 9 months. 9 months. Seeing it as a ledger instead of a string of excuses made my stomach tighten. I emailed Mr. Landry back and asked for a full update. Utilities, HOA status, any repair requests, any complaints, everything. Before he responded, my mother texted me, "Mom, I'm stretched thin this month, so please don't ask me to bring much Sunday." That was odd. My mother complained about plenty of things, but she was usually careful with money. Me, everything okay? "Mom, I helped your sister with the condo. She had no choice. The HOA was threatening fines over bathroom repairs." I stared at the message. "Me, what bathroom repairs?" "Mom, urgent upgrades. Something about water damage and an HOA deadline. It was $8,000. Vanessa was embarrassed, so don't bring it up. The HOA statement was sitting on my desk. There were no fines, no emergency assessment, no bathroom deadline, no mandatory upgrades. I felt something in me go very still. Vanessa had not only stopped paying me, she had gone to our mother and taken $8,000 for fake repairs on a property she did not own, using an HOA threat that did not exist. And my mother, who constantly told me not to keep score, had apparently handed Vanessa the money without asking one serious question. I did not call Vanessa. I did not text her. I did not send a paragraph I would regret. I opened a folder on my laptop and started pulling records. The lease agreement with Vanessa's signature, the reduced rent amount, the unpaid rent ledger, the property tax bill with my name on it, the HOA statements, utility late notices, bank transfer screenshots showing me covering property costs, text messages from years ago where Vanessa begged for help. One text was from that first terrible week. "Vanessa, please. I can't let Caleb go through another move. I swear I'll pay you back. I just need a chance." Another was from 2 years later. "Vanessa, I know I'm late. Don't make this official. You know Mom would freak." Another after I paid the water heater invoice. "Vanessa, you're seriously saving me right now. I know I don't say it enough." No, she didn't. Then I checked the family group chat, family stuff, and searched the word condo. That was when I found what I had been avoiding for years. Vanessa had been planting the lie over and over. Vanessa. Once you own something real, you understand standards. Vanessa, some people talk about stability. Some of us actually built it. Vanessa. Hillary should come over and take notes, LOL. There were laughing emojis from relatives. A heart from my mother. I sat there for a while with my hands flat on the table. I was not preparing revenge. I was preparing the truth because I knew the truth would need receipts. The next morning I called Mr. Landry. He told me exactly what I needed to hear and exactly what I did not want to hear. Do not threaten, he said. Do not argue in texts. Do not improvise because she's family. If you want to enforce the lease, document, notify, and let the paper trail do the talking. He also suggested I consult an attorney, so I did. The attorney reviewed the lease and told me that if Vanessa did not cure the unpaid rent and occupancy violation within the proper legal window, formal removal could proceed. The attorney did not make it dramatic. She did not tell me to ruin my sister. She told me to stop behaving like a sister in a situation that had become a property matter. That sentence stayed with me. By the time Sunday came, I had an envelope in my tote bag. Not because I planned to make a scene. I actually hoped I would not need it. I had copies of the lease, the ledger, the HOA statement showing no emergency assessment, utility notices, the property tax bill, and the prepared notice that would be served properly through the correct process. I told myself I would only use it if Vanessa crossed the line again. That was almost funny. Vanessa lived over the line. She had furniture there. My mother's backyard was already smoky from the grill when I arrived. Someone had dragged folding chairs into uneven rows on the grass. There was a plastic tablecloth clipped to the long table because the wind kept lifting the corners. A cooler full of canned drinks sat near the fence, and the smell of sunscreen mixed with lighter fluid and hamburgers. Aunt Renee was arranging buns on a paper plate. Mason was trying to find the long grill tongs. Gina, a longtime family friend who knew enough of our history to be dangerous but not enough to be helpful, was fanning herself with a napkin. My mother saw me carrying a bag of ice and 2 packs of paper plates. Oh good, she said. Put those by the cooler. No hello. No thank you. Just logistics. Then she leaned closer and lowered her voice. Please Hillary, no tension today. It's family. I wasn't planning any tension, I said. She gave me the look she always gave me when she wanted me to accept responsibility for something Vanessa had not done yet. I mean it, she said. It's my birthday. I nodded and carried the ice across the yard. Vanessa arrived 40 minutes late with Derek and Caleb behind her. She was holding a bakery cake in both hands like she was presenting a sacred offering. Birthday girl, she sang. My mother lit up. There she is. Vanessa kissed Mom's cheek, placed the cake on the table, and immediately began apologizing in the way people apologize when they want praise for showing up at all. Traffic was ridiculous, and Derek had to help me load the cake. But I got the good one from that bakery you like. Mom touched the box. You didn't have to do that. Vanessa laughed. Please. Standards. There it was. Within 5 minutes, she had a drink in her hand and an audience around her. She talked about the condo before anyone asked. I'm thinking of switching the guest room around, she told Gina. Once the bathroom is done, you all have to come over. It's finally looking like the kind of home I always deserved. Derek nodded, taking a drink from a can. We've been upgrading things slowly. You know, building equity. Caleb looked down at his plate. I watched him, not Vanessa. Caleb was 24 now, grown, but he still had that same exhausted look he used to get when adults started decorating lies and calling them plans. Aunt Renee said, Bathroom? Is that the repair your mom mentioned? Vanessa's eyes flicked briefly to me, then back to Renee. Oh, just normal homeowner stuff, she said. You know how it is. Once something is yours, you have to protect it. My mother beamed like Vanessa had just recited a graduation speech. I took a sip of water and said nothing. The first joke came while we were making plates. Vanessa looked at the stack of plain paper plates I brought and said, Of course Hillary brought the practical ones. She would bring office supplies to a pool party. A few people laughed. I smiled faintly and reached for mustard. Then she said, I keep telling her she needs to get out more. There's a whole world beyond errands and silence. Mason chuckled with his mouth full. then looked away when he noticed I was not laughing. My mother said, "Vanessa, stop. You know your sister is sensitive." That was how Mom defended me, by turning the insult into my flaw. "I'm fine," I said. Vanessa tilted her head. "See? That's Hillary's favorite sentence." Gina smiled uncertainly. Aunt Renee did not smile. A few minutes later, near the cooler, Caleb came up beside me while everyone else was arguing about whether the burgers were done. "Don't let her get to you," he said quietly. I looked at him. "I'm not. She gets like this when she's nervous." "Nervous about what?" He shrugged, eyes on the melting ice in the cooler. "Money. Derek. Grandma asking questions." "I don't know." I waited. He rubbed the back of his neck. "She says stuff when she's mad. Like that landlord loser thing. I don't think she means it." I went still. "Landlord?" I asked. His face changed. He realized too late that I had never heard it before. "Aunt Hill, I'm sorry. I thought." "What did you think?" He swallowed. "I thought you knew she called you that." I looked across the yard. Vanessa was laughing with Derek and Gina, one hand pressed to her chest like she had just said something hilarious. Landlord loser. So she knew exactly what I was. She just thought I was too weak to say it out loud. I went back to the table and sat down. The envelope was still in my tote bag under my sunglasses and keys. I could feel its weight without touching it. The cookout rolled on. People ate burgers off paper plates. Someone asked where the lighter fluid went. My mother opened cards and made a big show of telling Vanessa the cake was beautiful. Vanessa kept circling back to the condo, the bathroom, the future, the dinner party she wanted to host once everything was finished. At one point, Aunt Renee asked, "So did you refinance or something? I remember you saying you bought it, but I never heard the whole story." Vanessa waved her off. "Oh, boring paperwork. The point is, it's mine." Aunt Renee glanced at me. I looked down at my plate. Then Vanessa decided she needed a bigger laugh. She lifted her wine cooler and said, "I'll give Hillary credit though. She is consistent." The table quieted just enough. I knew that tone. Everyone in my family knew that tone. It was the tone Vanessa used when she wanted to cut and still call it a joke. She smiled at Gina, then at Mason, then directly at me. Hillary's proof that being quiet doesn't mean being deep. Sometimes it just means you have nothing to show. A couple of people laughed too quickly. Mason gave a short, uncomfortable bark of a laugh and then stared at his burger. Gina's mouth opened like she did not know whether she was supposed to enjoy that. My mother laughed softly and waved her hand. "Oh, don't make that face," she said to me. "She's just joking." Vanessa leaned back in her chair, pleased. "Come on, Hillary," she said. "If you can't laugh at being the family cautionary tale, what can you laugh at?" Something in me did not snap. It settled. I set my cup down. I reached into my tote bag. I took out the envelope and placed it on the table beside the potato salad. The grill lid clanged shut behind me. Nobody spoke for a second. I looked at Vanessa. "Then let's show everyone whose name is on your condo." Her smile stayed in place, but her face lost color underneath it. "What?" she said. "You don't have to respect me as your sister, Vanessa. But you are going to respect the lease." The backyard went so quiet I could hear the ice shifting in the cooler. My mother's eyes narrowed. "Hillary, don't start. It's my birthday." "I know," I said. I tried very hard not to. Vanessa let out a sharp laugh. "This is pathetic. Are you seriously doing this because I made a joke?" "No," I said. "I'm doing this because you've been living in a condo I own, haven't paid the reduced rent in 9 months, moved Derek in without approval, and took $8,000 from Mom for repairs that don't exist." Derek slowly lowered his drink. "Vanessa," he said. "What is she talking about?" Vanessa snapped her head toward him. "Nothing. She's twisting things." Then she looked at everyone else. "She's jealous. She has always been jealous." My mother stood up from her chair. "Hillary, this is cruel." Aunt Renee said, "Wait. Vanessa, you told us you bought that place." "I did," Vanessa said quickly. "In every way that matters." I almost smiled, but there was nothing funny about it. "That is exactly the kind of sentence people use when the paperwork says otherwise," I said. Vanessa reached for the envelope. I put my hand on top of it. No. You don't get to grab documents now. She glared at me. You were waiting for this. I was hoping you would stop before I needed it. My phone was already in my other hand. I had made a folder of screenshots and PDFs in case she tried to turn the moment into another performance. I sent the first batch to the family group chat. Phone started pinging around the table. Mason looked down. Gina pulled her phone from her pocket. Aunt Renee adjusted her glasses. Caleb closed his eyes for a second. I opened the envelope and laid the documents out one by one. Not dramatically. Not like a courtroom show. Just enough for the people closest to me to see what Vanessa had been hiding behind jokes. This is the lease Vanessa signed, I said. This is the reduced rent. This is the ledger showing 9 missed months. This is the property tax bill in my name. This is the HOA statement. No bathroom fine. No emergency assessment. No deadline. This is the utility notice. This is Mr. Landry's email about Derek being an unauthorized long-term occupant. Derek stared at Vanessa. You told me your name was on it, he said. Vanessa's mouth tightened. It's complicated. No, Aunt Renee said, her voice sharper than I had ever heard it. 9 months isn't complicated. My mother picked up her phone, and I watched her read the screenshot of her own text about the $8,000. Her expression shifted, but not enough. Shock, yes. Embarrassment, definitely. Accountability, not yet. Mom, I said, quieter now, there was no HO fine. No bathroom deadline. No emergency assessment. You gave her money for a problem she invented. My mother looked at Vanessa. Vanessa. Vanessa's eyes filled with tears instantly, like she had been waiting to deploy them. I was going to fix things, she said. I needed breathing room. With fake repairs? Aunt Renee asked. Vanessa pointed at me. She doesn't understand pressure. She sits there judging everyone because she has no life. That one did not land like the others. Maybe because the lease was sitting between us. Maybe because Derek had gone silent. Maybe because everyone's phone had the truth glowing on the screen. My mother still tried. You could have handled this privately, she said to me, voice shaking. You didn't have to humiliate your sister in front of everyone. I looked at her for a long moment. She humiliated me publicly while living privately on my help. Hillary. No. I let her embarrass me for years so you could keep calling it peace. I'm done paying for peace with my dignity. Vanessa wiped under her eyes, but the tears had not softened her face. You want me homeless? I'm not putting you on the street tonight, I said. I'm putting the truth on the table. The rest will follow the lease. Derek pushed his chair back. I've been telling people we were building something there. Vanessa whispered. Derek, not now. He shook his head. You let me say we were building equity in a place you didn't own. My mother sat back down hard like the air had gone out of her. Gina looked at me with a strange mix of pity and embarrassment. Mason kept scrolling through the documents in the group chat. Aunt Renee picked up the HOA statement and said, Marilyn, that's not a small misunderstanding. Mom did not answer her. I gathered the documents and slid them back into the envelope, leaving the copies in the group chat where nobody could pretend they had not seen them. Official notice has already been prepared, I said to Vanessa. It will be served properly. If you want to cure the violations or discuss repayment, you can communicate through Mr. Landry or the attorney. I am not discussing property matters through guilt anymore. Vanessa stood up. You're enjoying this? No, I said. I'm tired. Then I picked up my tote bag. My mother said, Don't you walk out like you're the victim. I stopped at the edge of the patio. I'm done staying at tables where my silence is the price of belonging. Nobody followed me at first. I heard Vanessa crying, my mother saying her name, Derek asking another question Vanessa did not answer. The group chat kept pinging in my hand as I walked to my car. Mason caught up to me near the driveway. Hey, he said, breathing a little hard. Hill, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have laughed. I looked at him. He seemed sincere, but I was too raw to hold his apology for him. Not now, Mason. He nodded. Okay, but I am sorry. Caleb stood by the gate, arms folded, looking younger than 24. I'm sorry, he said softly. I wanted to hug him. I also wanted to drive away before someone convinced me to make myself smaller again. Your mother's choices are not yours to carry, I said. Then I left. By the time I got home, the family group chat had become exactly what I expected. Vanessa, you had no right to do that in front of everyone. Marilyn, both of you need to calm down. This is not how family behaves. Aunt Renee, I want to know about the $8,000. Mason, I shouldn't have laughed. I'm sorry, Hill. Gina, I'm staying out of this, but I had no idea. Vanessa, she ruined me over jokes. Me, you made it public when you mocked me publicly. Vanessa, you destroyed my reputation. Me, I corrected the story you told in front of everyone. After that, I muted the chat. My mother called 9 times that night. Vanessa called 12. Derek called once, which surprised me. I did not answer any of them. Mr. Landry had told me to keep everything in writing, and for once I was going to take professional advice over family panic. Vanessa emailed me at 1:14 a.m. Subject: Are you serious? The message started with anger and ended with begging. She wrote that I had embarrassed her, that sister's fight, that I knew she had been under pressure, that Derek was being weird now, that Mom was crying, that Caleb was upset, that I should have warned her, that I had always wanted to be better than her. Then came the closest thing to an apology. I said some things, okay? Sisters say things. I replied the next morning. Tenants also pay things. All future communication about the condo goes through Mr. Landry or the attorney. She called immediately. I let it ring. The official notice was served through the proper process. There was no dramatic knockdown moment, no police scene, no screaming in the parking lot. Just certified mail, documented delivery, and an email from Mr. Landry confirming the timeline. Vanessa had a legal window to address the unpaid rent and lease violations. She could have asked for a truthful repayment plan. She could have submitted Derek for approval. She could have admitted what she had done and tried to fix it like an adult. Instead, she tried every emotional side door she could find. She texted from a new number. Vanessa, you're really going to do this to your nephew's mother? I blocked the number. She sent Mom after me. Mom, I know Vanessa was wrong, but you need to think about the family. Me, I am thinking about the family. That's why I'm not letting her keep stealing from it. Mom, that is a harsh word. Me, so is liar. Both apply. Mom stopped texting for 2 days. Derek emailed Mr. Landry, copying me, to ask whether he had any legal obligation connected to the unit. The answer was formal and clear. He was not on the lease, had not been approved as an occupant, and needed to vacate unless the situation was cured through the proper process. 3 days later, Caleb texted me. Caleb, Derek left. I sat with that message for a minute. Me, are you okay? Caleb, yeah. I don't live there anymore anyway. Just embarrassed. Me, you don't need to be embarrassed for things you didn't do. Caleb, I should have said something. I knew some of it, not all of it. I knew she told people it was hers. I didn't know about Grandma's money. Me, your mother's lies were never your job to carry. Caleb, she's saying you hate her. Me, I don't hate her. I'm done funding her. He did not respond for a while. Then he sent one more message. Caleb, I'm sorry she called you that. I knew he meant landlord loser. Me too. That small exchange hurt more than the cookout in some ways. Caleb had grown up inside Vanessa's version of reality, and even he knew it was unstable. I wished I had drawn boundaries earlier, not only for myself but for him. Watching adults lie for years teaches kids that love means managing someone else's mess. The inspection happened after proper notice. Mr. Landry sent photos and a report. The condo was not destroyed because life is rarely that cinematic, but there was damage. Scuffed walls, a cracked cabinet panel under the bathroom sink, a missing set of keys, a stained section of carpet in the smaller room, a loose towel bar Derek had apparently been meaning to fix. Utility balances still unpaid. Mr. Landry's email was brief. Everything needs to remain in writing from here on out. That sentence became my anchor. Vanessa became less charming as the deadlines got real. She posted nothing for 2 weeks. No brunch photos. No candles. No balcony plants. No captions about building a life. Relatives who used to comment heart emojis suddenly went quiet. Aunt Renee called my mother and, according to Mason, asked her directly why she had never questioned Vanessa's condo story. My mother did not like that. She called me one afternoon from a number I did not recognize. I answered because I was waiting on a maintenance vendor. "Hillary," she said. I almost hung up. "What do you need, Mom?" Her voice sounded smaller than usual. "This has gotten out of hand." No. It was out of hand when Vanessa stopped paying. It was out of hand when she lied to you for $8,000. It was out of hand when you laughed at me. Silence. Then, "I just wanted everyone to get along." No, you wanted everyone to keep treating Vanessa like the success story, and me like the backup plan. That isn't fair. It's accurate. She exhaled. Vanessa was wrong. I waited. "But you could have handled it privately," she added. There it was. The same half apology wrapped around the same old demand. "I did handle it privately," I said. "For years. Privately is where she stopped paying. Privately is where she lied. Privately is where you told me family helps family while praising her independence. Public is where she called me a cautionary tale." She was embarrassed. So was I. You laughed. My mother did not answer. I said, "Mom, family is not a word you get to use only when Vanessa needs protection." Her voice hardened. "She is still your sister. And I am still your daughter." That ended the call. Vanessa eventually ran out of delay tactics. She did not cure the unpaid rent. She did not sign a truthful repayment plan. She did not take accountability in writing. She sent emotional emails, then angry emails, then one message through my mother claiming she was exploring options. But no option included paying what she owed or admitting what she had done. So the legal process moved forward. I will not pretend it felt clean. There were mornings I woke up with dread in my stomach. There were moments I wondered if I had become the cold person my family kept accusing me of being. Then I would remember Vanessa at the cookout, smiling over her drink while everyone laughed. I would remember landlord loser. I would remember my mother telling me I was sensitive while my sister lived under a roof I paid for. That was when the guilt started sounding less like conscience and more like old training. When the keys finally came back, Vanessa did not hand them to me. She left them with Mr. Landry in an envelope with no note. The day he emailed me confirmation, I sat at my kitchen table for a long time. I expected to feel victorious. I did not. I felt tired, then slowly lighter. The final accounting was handled through the proper channels. Some costs were documented. Some were written off because chasing every dollar would have kept me tied to Vanessa longer than I wanted. The remaining issues were filed the way they needed to be filed. Not dramatic. Not satisfying in a movie way. Just done. Derek sent me one short email weeks later. I didn't know. "I'm sorry for anything I said about the place." I believed him. Derek was prideful, but he had been lied to too. That did not make him my problem. Mason apologized again. This time in a real message instead of a driveway panic. "I laughed because everyone laughed," he wrote. "That was weak. You didn't deserve that." I thanked him. I did not tell him it was okay because it had not been. Aunt Renee called and said, "I should have asked more questions sooner." "You're not the one who owed me rent," I said. "No," she replied, "but I sat at enough tables." That one stayed with me. Caleb and I met for coffee about a month after Vanessa left the condo. He looked nervous when he walked in, like he expected me to scold him. I bought his coffee before he arrived because I remembered he liked it plain with too much sugar. He sat across from me and said, "She's still mad." I figured. "She says you chose money over family." I stirred my coffee even though I had not added anything. "No. I chose honesty over being used." He nodded slowly. "She doesn't see it that way." "I know. I told her to stop calling you names." I looked up. He shrugged, embarrassed. "I should have done it before. You were a kid for most of this." "I'm not now." That was the first time I felt something close to hope about someone in my family. Not because Caleb took my side, but because he understood that staying silent had consequences too. I did not need him to fight Vanessa for me. I just needed him not to inherit the family habit of pretending cruelty was humor. The condo was cleaned, repaired, and rented through Mr. Landry to a qualified tenant who paid the deposit, signed the lease, and communicated like an adult. The first month the rent came in on time. I stared at the notification longer than I should have. It was just a normal payment from a normal tenant, but it felt strange not to attach dread to that property anymore. No excuses. No guilt. No family group chat. No, I swear I'll catch up. Just business. Vanessa moved into a smaller place. I heard that from Mason, not from her. She told people she had chosen to downsize, which was about as close to honesty as Vanessa liked to stand. She stopped bringing up the condo. My mother stopped praising Vanessa's independence in front of me, though she also stopped inviting me to as many things once she realized I would not play my old role. That part hurt less than I expected. For years I thought being included meant I belonged. After the cookout, I realized sometimes being included just meant people knew where to put their expectations. Bring the plates. Fix the problem. Take the joke. Keep the secret. Pay the bill. Smile when the favorite child performs. I stopped doing all of it. When my mother finally tried again, it was with another careful half apology. She called on a quiet evening while I was folding laundry. I almost let it go to voicemail, but I answered. "Hillary," she said, "I've been thinking." Okay. Vanessa was wrong. I stayed silent. She shouldn't have lied about the money. Or the condo. No, she shouldn't have. Another pause. And I suppose I should not have laughed. That suppose almost made me end the call. I said, "Mom, I don't need you to suppose. I need you to understand. I just don't want this family broken." It was already broken. You only noticed when I stopped holding the pieces quietly. She started crying then softly. Years ago, that would have made me panic and comfort her. This time I let the silence sit. "I don't know how to fix it," she said. "You can start by telling the truth without adding a but. Vanessa was wrong. You were wrong. I was hurt. That's it." She did not say it that day. Maybe she was not ready. Maybe she never would be. But I did not bargain with her for it. I told her I needed distance until she could admit the real issue was not that I embarrassed Vanessa. The real issue was that she watched Vanessa embarrass me for years and called it personality. After we hung up, I turned my phone on silent and finished folding laundry. That sounds ordinary, but ordinary felt good. No crisis. No one asking for money. No one telling me to be bigger while making me smaller. Just a quiet house, warm towels, and a phone I did not have to answer. For the first time in years, nobody in my family was living off my silence. People still have opinions. I know Vanessa tells her version. In that version, I am bitter, jealous, cold, and obsessed with paperwork. In that version, she made a few jokes and I destroyed her life. In that version, my mother is the wounded birthday girl and I am the daughter who brought documents to a cookout. Maybe that last part is true. I did bring documents to a cookout, but I brought them because my sister brought lies, my mother brought denial, and everyone else brought laughter. They said I embarrassed Vanessa in front of the family. Maybe I did. But she embarrassed me for years while living under a roof I paid for. The only difference is I finally told the truth out loud. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.